Chapter 5: Mastering Incident Leadership. Unified Leadership. A cyber crisis is a leadership test. When systems go down and uncertainty spikes, it's not just IT in the hot seat. Business leaders must step up, make tough calls, and protect the company's credibility. Handling an incident well means taking control, maintaining trust, and keeping the business running. The way a company responds defines its long-term resilience. A cyber crisis can either shake confidence or prove an organization's strength. When a cyber attack hits, leadership must be aligned. Business leaders and CISOs need to work together, combining technical expertise with strategic decision-making. The CISO brings the facts: what happened, what's at risk, and what needs to be done. Business leaders ensure the right stakeholders are informed, legal obligations are met, and decisions align with broader business priorities. Clear, direct communication keeps both sides aligned. To work effectively, there must be a structured process. Business leaders should be briefed regularly by the CISO, understanding the nature of the attack and the immediate actions required. Decisions must be made swiftly, balancing technical remediation with business continuity. A strong incident response plan ensures alignment between security and leadership, preventing miscommunication or delays. Rules must be clear in advance. The CISO leads the technical efforts, investigating, containing, and remediating the breach. Business leaders manage external communication, legal considerations, and stakeholder engagement. Mutual trust is essential. Both sides must work toward the same goal: protecting the business with minimal disruption. Cyber incidents move fast. Delays can cost millions, and leadership paralysis is just as damaging as the breach itself. Having predefined escalation protocols ensures that decisions like disclosing an incident, paying a ransom, or shutting down operations are made quickly and with the right input. Effective collaboration also requires clear communication with employees, customers, regulators, and the media. The CISO and business leaders must coordinate messaging that is honest, legally sound, and confidence-inspiring. Saying too much or too little can cause damage. Getting the balance right is critical. Once the crisis is contained, the work isn't over. A full review must be conducted, weak points identified, and response strategies refined. Cyber resilience comes from learning and improving after each incident. When business leaders and CISOs operate as a unified team, they turn a cyber crisis from a potential disaster into proof of their organization's leadership and strength. Decision-making under uncertainty, avoiding the panic spiral. In a cyber crisis, uncertainty is the only certainty. Facts are incomplete, threats evolve in real time, and pressure mounts from every direction: customers, regulators, executives, and the media. The risk? Falling into the panic spiral, reacting impulsively, making decisions based on fear, and ultimately making things worse. Strong leadership means cutting through the noise, staying composed, and making decisions that are both fast and sound. Let's get real. When chaos hits, everyone looks to leadership, and that includes you. Your team, your stakeholders, even the media, they're all waiting for a steady hand. If you hesitate, panic takes over. If you rush, you might make the wrong move. The balance is knowing when to act decisively and when to step back and think. A crisis demands structure. No matter how bad it looks, you need a process. Define who makes the calls, establish clear escalation paths, and use actionable playbooks for different attack scenarios. And don't just keep it in a document, practice it. Hold on, let me repeat that. Don't just keep it in a document, practice it. Short, structured check-ins ensure leadership stays aligned and adapts to new information in real time. When a decision needs to be made, no one should be asking, "Who decides this?" Time pressure fuels bad decisions. Acting fast doesn't mean reacting blindly. The best leaders follow a simple loop: assess, prioritize, execute, and reassess. Rapid, informed iterations keep things moving while avoiding reckless choices that could make things worse. A well-handled crisis isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right things in the right order. You won't have perfect information. You never do. If you wait for complete clarity, you'll be too late. The key is making the best decision with what you have and adjusting as new facts come in. Document key choices to maintain alignment. Choose reversible actions when possible, and always consider second and third order effects. What seems like a smart fix now might create a bigger problem later. Communication is half the battle. Your team needs direction, stakeholders need reassurance, and external messaging needs to protect trust. The wrong tone, overconfidence, vagueness, defensiveness can escalate the crisis instead of containing it. Be clear, be factual, and be consistent. Use a designated, predefined, and trained spokesperson to keep messaging aligned and avoid mixed signals. Fear spreads fast, and leadership sets the emotional tone. If you panic, so will your team. If you stay calm, project confidence, and keep decisions rational, your team will follow. Pressure is contagious, but so is composure. People take cues from the top. Uncertainty is part of the game. Great leaders don't have all the answers. They know how to make decisions when the answers aren't clear. Those who master this skill don't just manage crises. They prove their leadership in the moments that define careers and organizations. You can have the best technical response in the world, but if your messaging is unclear, inconsistent, or poorly timed, you'll fuel confusion, erode trust, and turn a bad situation into a reputational disaster. Executives and security leaders must take charge of the narrative, not by spinning the situation, but by delivering clear, confident, and coordinated messaging. People want to know what's happening, what you're doing about it, and what they need to do next. If you don't control the message, misinformation will fill the gap. Who says what and when? Before a crisis even happens, define roles. Who speaks to employees? Who handles media inquiries? Who communicates with regulators and key partners? These should never be game-time decisions. A trained, designated spokesperson should deliver external messages, while executives provide internal alignment. Security leaders must ensure their teams are informed and on track. A scattered response signals chaos. Internal communications. Employees need to hear from leadership before rumors start circulating. The CEO or senior executive should provide clear guidance and reassurance, ensuring that employees understand the situation, the company's response, and their role in maintaining business continuity. Provide talking points for managers so messaging remains consistent across departments. Media and public relations. The designated media spokesperson, typically someone from corporate communications or PR, should be the only one issuing public statements. A single voice ensures consistency and prevents mixed messages. Messaging must be precise, transparent, and aligned with legal and compliance obligations. Regulatory and legal engagement. Engaging with regulators requires a measured, fact-based approach. The legal team should take the lead here, working closely with security and compliance to ensure accurate reporting. If your organization doesn't have in-house legal expertise, having a pre-established relationship with external legal counsel experienced in cybersecurity and regulatory matters is critical. Trying to find the right legal support during a crisis wastes valuable time and increases risk. Premature or incomplete disclosures can create additional liabilities, so regulatory engagement must be structured and deliberate. Security and technical briefings. Security leaders need to provide real-time updates to internal stakeholders, executives, and legal teams. They must break down technical issues in a way that non-technical leaders can understand, enabling informed decision-making. Security teams should also align with IT and operational teams to ensure a coordinated technical response. Customer and partner communication. If a cyber incident affects customers or key partners, they must be informed in a timely manner. Messaging should reassure them that the company is in control and taking necessary steps to mitigate impact. Provide clear action steps where necessary, whether it's updating passwords, monitoring accounts, or other security measures. A structured communication plan ensures that the right information reaches the right people at the right time. Without it, confusion takes over and confidence erodes. Honest, timely, and useful messaging, trust is built on transparency. That doesn't mean oversharing, but it does mean being upfront about what you know, what you don't, and what's being done. Avoid jargon and corporate fluff. People see right through it. Instead, focus on clarity. Remove ambiguity. Don't let people fill in the blanks with assumptions. Be direct and precise in all communications. If an investigation is still in progress, say so. If there are gaps in knowledge, acknowledge them and commit to updating stakeholders as soon as new information emerges. Clear messaging prevents speculation and minimizes confusion. Actionability. Give employees and stakeholders clear next steps. Every message should answer the question, what do I need to do now? Whether it's advising employees to reset passwords, notifying customers of protective measures, or informing regulators about compliance steps, ensure every stakeholder understands their role in mitigating the situation. Provide checklists, direct instructions, and support resources where necessary. Reassurance. Show control. Panic at the top spreads downward fast. Confidence in communication is key, both in tone and content. Leaders should focus on delivering messages that reinforce stability and a well-managed response. Use straightforward, non-alarmist language that acknowledges the issue while emphasizing the actions being taken to resolve it. Consistent reassurance helps maintain trust and reduces the risk of unnecessary disruptions. Silence isn't an option. If you don't communicate, others will. Whether it's disgruntled employees, concerned customers, or the media speculating on worst-case scenarios. What you say inside the company and what you say outside must be aligned but not identical. Employees need more details, context, and direction. Customers, partners, and the public need confidence and clarity without unnecessary alarm. A good rule: internal messaging should always go out first. Employees are your frontline communicators. If they hear things from the news before they hear from you, you've lost control of the narrative. Craft key messages in advance. You won't have time to wordsmith under pressure. A few pre-drafted response templates covering different scenarios can save valuable time and prevent knee-jerk reactions. And here's the part most companies ignore: practice. Run crisis communication drills just like you would technical incident response. Simulate press inquiries, stakeholder briefings, and internal updates. When the real thing happens, you won't be scrambling. Lead with composure. Crisis communication is about delivery. Leaders must be calm, controlled, and credible. Nervous, defensive, or erratic behavior will do more damage than the breach itself. Every word, every silence, and every action sends a signal. Make sure yours says, "We've got this." Regulatory and legal strategy. A cyber crisis isn't just an operational headache. It's a legal and regulatory minefield. How you respond in those first critical hours and days can mean the difference between compliance and costly penalties, between a controlled response and a regulatory nightmare. Getting this right requires coordination across legal, compliance, security, and executive teams. Know the rules before the crisis. You can't follow the rules if you don't know them. Different jurisdictions, industries, and regulatory bodies have their own requirements for breach reporting, data protection, and disclosure timelines. Work with legal and compliance teams to map out who you're accountable to. Identify every governing body that has authority over your organization. This includes national and international regulators, industry-specific compliance bodies, and contractual obligations with partners or clients. Some regulators, such as the GDPR authorities in Europe or the SEC in the US, have strict reporting standards. Missing these obligations can lead to severe financial penalties, reputational damage, and even legal action. Keep an updated list of contacts for each regulatory body and establish preemptive communication channels. What must be reported? Not all incidents require the same level of disclosure. A minor security event might not trigger regulatory obligations, while a significant breach exposing customer data could require immediate action. Understand the criteria for mandatory reporting. What constitutes a breach, whether the data compromised includes personally identifiable information, PII, and if critical infrastructure or operations are affected. Having predefined templates for incident reports tailored to different regulatory frameworks ensures compliance without unnecessary delays. When deadlines hit, timing is everything. Some regulations demand notification within 24 hours, others within 72 hours, and some allow more flexibility. For example, GDPR mandates that certain breaches be reported within 72 hours of discovery, while financial regulators may require immediate disclosure. Missing a deadline due to internal delays or lack of coordination can compound the crisis. Develop a response timeline that clearly outlines key milestones for internal assessment, legal review, stakeholder communication, and formal regulatory reporting. Train teams to work within these constraints to ensure compliance under pressure. Legal and security must be in sync. Legal teams interpret the laws. Security teams know the technical details. But too often, they operate in silos. In a crisis, that gap is dangerous. Legal needs real-time, accurate updates on breach scope, impact, and containment efforts. Security needs legal guidance on what can and cannot be disclosed. Establish structured check-ins between legal and security so decisions are based on facts, not assumptions. The last thing you want is misalignment leading to over-disclosure, under-reporting, or conflicting statements. Coordinating the response across the business regulatory strategy doesn't sit in isolation. It has to align with your entire crisis response. That means PR and legal alignment. Public messaging must not conflict with regulatory filings. A well-intended but legally risky statement can escalate liability. Legal and PR teams must work together to craft statements that reassure stakeholders without inadvertently admitting fault or misrepresenting the situation. Ensure press releases, customer notifications, and executive interviews align with compliance requirements and legal obligations. Executive briefings. Leadership needs clear, risk-based options for compliance decisions. Executives must be informed of breach impact, potential regulatory scrutiny, and the legal implications of every action. This means not only receiving updates from security and legal teams, but also having clear, digestible options laid out. Should the company disclose immediately, seek an extension, or challenge regulatory findings? Each decision must be backed by legal and operational intelligence. Board engagement. Major incidents require transparency with governance bodies. Board members don't need technical deep dives, but they do need a clear understanding of the situation, potential legal exposure, and how leadership is handling it. A well-prepared regulatory strategy includes a framework for briefing the board efficiently, keeping them informed without overwhelming them with unnecessary complexity. Employee guidance. Internal teams must know what they can and cannot say externally. Employees are often the first point of contact for customers, partners, and even media inquiries. A single offhand comment can cause reputational and legal damage. Provide clear, simple guidelines on approved messaging and escalation protocols. Ensure employees know who to refer external queries to, and emphasize the importance of confidentiality during an active crisis. Be ready to engage with regulators. Regulators expect prompt, structured responses. That means pre-designating contacts. Who speaks to regulators? This shouldn't be decided mid-crisis. Assign a primary regulatory liaison who understands legal and compliance requirements, has experience interacting with regulators, and can maintain a professional, informed dialogue. Ensure this person is well-versed in regulatory expectations and is involved in breach response planning so they can act immediately when needed. Maintaining documentation. Every decision made during a breach response should be recorded to justify actions if regulators come knocking. This includes timestamps of when incidents were detected, response measures taken, communications sent, and legal counsel consulted. Keeping a structured log prevents inconsistencies, provides a defensible position in case of an audit, and ensures regulatory reporting deadlines are met with accurate information. Practicing response scenarios. Run exercises with legal and security teams to ensure everyone knows their role when the time comes. Conduct mock regulatory inquiries where teams practice responding to urgent data requests, handling difficult questions, and providing accurate reports under tight deadlines. These drills help refine workflows, expose gaps in processes, and build confidence in dealing with real-world regulatory engagements. A proactive approach is your best defense. If your regulatory and legal strategy is reactive, you're already behind. Build relationships with regulators before a crisis hits. Have clear playbooks ready. Train leadership on legal obligations. The more prepared you are, the more in control you'll be when it matters most. A cyber incident doesn't just test your security, it tests your organization's ability to handle pressure, scrutiny, and accountability. Nail the regulatory and legal response, and you don't just avoid fines, you build trust, credibility, and resilience. Crisis response for smaller teams. Cyber incidents don't wait for you to be ready. If you don't have an in-house security team, that doesn't mean you can't respond effectively. It just means preparation is everything. When something feels off, don't ignore it. Investigate fast and act decisively. The first move is containment. Unplug affected devices, lock down access, and reset credentials before the damage spreads. Call in your IT provider or a cybersecurity firm with emergency response services. Don't try to fix what you don't fully understand. Next, figure out the impact. What's compromised? Is customer data exposed? Do you need to notify regulators? If laws apply to you, don't wait. Transparency beats a legal mess later. Internally, make sure your team knows what's happening. Externally, keep your message clear and controlled. Panic doesn't solve problems. Once the fire is out, it's time to rebuild stronger. Find the gaps that let this happen, tighten security, and get your team trained. The best way to handle a crisis: be ready before it happens. Have emergency contacts lined up, basic protections in place, and a team that knows what to do when things go south. Fast action can be the difference between a bad day and a disaster. Incident Leadership Checklist. Use this checklist as a starting point to ensure you're prepared to handle a cyber crisis effectively. Pre-crisis preparedness. Define crisis roles and responsibilities for executives, CISOs, PR, and legal teams. Establish a crisis communication plan, including internal and external messaging templates. Conduct regular crisis simulation exercises and training for leadership teams. Maintain an up-to-date list of regulatory contacts and reporting requirements. Develop pre-approved messaging for different types of incidents. Immediate response actions. Assess the severity and scope of the incident with the CISO and security team. Activate crisis communication protocols, ensuring all leaders are aligned. Provide clear, factual, and timely updates to employees before external disclosures. Assign a spokesperson for media and regulatory communications. Ensure security and legal teams are in sync to align technical and compliance responses. Ongoing crisis management. Hold structured check-ins to reassess facts and adjust the response as needed. Monitor and control public messaging to prevent speculation and misinformation. Keep executives and board members informed with concise, actionable updates. Provide employees with clear guidance on how to address external inquiries. Document all decisions and actions taken for post-incident review and regulatory reporting. Post-crisis review and improvement. Conduct a full debrief with security, legal, and executive teams. Identify key lessons learned and update crisis response protocols accordingly. Communicate improvements to stakeholders to reinforce trust and accountability. Ensure compliance with any regulatory follow-ups or required post-incident reports. Reassess and refine communication strategies based on feedback and outcomes. Customize this list to fit your specific needs so that you, as a CISO or business owner, can enhance coordination, reduce risk, and transform crisis management into a testament to strong leadership and resilience.